Here we go. All right, y'all, we're going to do a quick review first. So this is the old test. I think we went through some of these yesterday. I'm going to skip a few. Let's look at number 6. What's the slope in the y-intercept? On number 6, what's the slope?
4/9.
4/9. Easiest question on the test. Okay? Again, I'll change the numbers. 4/9. Did everybody know that's the slope? 4/9. What's the y-intercept? -1/2. The way you would write this, well, it doesn't matter how you, like if you want to write under the word slope, 4/9, the y-intercept is -1/2. Okay, the way I would write it, I would say the slope is 4/9, the y-intercept is -1/2. Because those are the letters we use, right? If you look over there on the board, y equals mx plus b. So it's -1/2. All right, that's it. That's all you do on that one. Okay? All right, then they tell us on number 7, write an equation with this slope and this y-intercept. So which one is your answer for number 7? It says your slope is -4 and your y-intercept is -8. Which is the equation? Second easiest question on the test, on the midterm. Y equals mx plus b.
C.
So it's C. Y equals mx plus b. Backwards from this, do y'all not know that? Or we just are quiet?
I'm just tired.
Okay, so we think we do know that. All right, those are the 2 easiest questions on the test. If you miss those, how are we going to get the hard ones, right? So it just goes off of slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. The slope is -4. The y-intercept is -8. Bam, there it is. Okay?
You already started?
I have.
I haven't even got the absentee done yet.
Oh,
Can I see that folder? You've already done chapter 19. I don't know what I gave you.
Did Easton talk to you about Thursday? No, you don't have him first. It's
I
like-
do.
You have him first part of the day?
Oh, yeah.
Did he already talk to you?
No.
He's gonna check in Thursday at 10:30.
We'll be through reading the Christmas Carol by then. We'll
So,
just be
I'm
done some
sorry.
stuff. And we're not gonna watch the movie. I don't know what I've given her to do for him.
Okay. No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Come on. They don't mind waiting.
Gosh.
It's unexcused, Bethany.
You've already done.
Where's he going?
That kind of.
It's here.
The prenatal one. Do you have any idea?
They're only asked a few times a year, so I usually let them miss. Usually they check in by the time school starts,
It is.
but the people aren't going until 7:30.
I told you you had a local test.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that was the midterm supposed to be.
I can't reach.
I got the perfect thing for you.
And last year he missed it. Last year he chose to come to school
You
instead of going.
It's like.
He just didn't want to miss
Hayden
school.
going too?
I was like, it's
Oh,
fine.
it's
Don't
going
miss
to
school.
We got like 7 more days of school, actual school days. That just feels so amazing.
This is on the video. Sorry, Addie.
Kind of not want
Yes.
to be here.
Where Addie's gonna be like, what's going on?
I'm sorry.
You, it's
I was
just,
trying to give her a test.
it's
on
Why
why
just,
sign
it's fine. Okay.
Don't know.
I need to write things down.
Okay, we did some of this yesterday. So I'm going to show you, I actually taught you a different way to do this, but I'm going to do it like we did yesterday. I think it's way easier. So we have 2 points, and it says, what's the equation in slope-intercept form? So if I were you, the first thing I would write down on my paper is this right here. If you don't know slope-intercept form, how can you write the equation in it, right? So I would write that down. Now I need those 2 words. I need the slope and the intercept. Do you know how to find the slope of 2 points?
Divide. I don't know.
So what do you put in the top? You subtract the y's. What do you do in the bottom? Subtract the x's. So my y's, I'll do 8 minus 2. In the same order, my x's, 5 minus 8. What is 8 minus 2?
6.
And then what is 5 minus 8?
-3.
So what's my slope?
6 over -3.
which is
Two.
-2. I can already tell my answer, but we're gonna go to yesterday's. Here's my slope, so I'm gonna erase my m, and I'm gonna put -2. I'm almost done. Now, I have a point and a slope. Do y'all remember point slope form from yesterday? This is all we did, like over and over again. Once you have a point and a slope, you write it like this. Again, you just have to have that memorized, okay? So it's y minus the y value. You have an x and a y and another x and a y. Which one do you want to use? The first one or the second one? Okay? He says this one right here. Didn't matter. So y minus, what's your y value, Riley, in that point?
Wait. Oh, 2.
2. Very good. And then the slope, what's our slope? Somebody else? What did we find the slope to be? -2. And then x minus, what's the x value of the point he picked? 8. Now, this is actually an equation that's the right answer. It's just not in the right form. Okay? So, yesterday we did this. How do I rearrange it? 2 steps. What did we do with the -2? Distribute the -2 and then move this 2 over. So I have, if I distribute that, -2x, and what's -2 times -8? 6. Then what did I say we will do? What do we do with -2? Add it. So I get y equals -2x plus 18. Isn't that the answer we thought it was going to be? That's the only one with that slope. So by process of elimination, you can get that answer. Okay, hold on. I've got to turn this scent off back here. It's too much with the candle. Yeah, I have this thing plugged in and I got a little bit of a headache. And that candle together. It's off. All right. Let's see if I want to do another one. Actually, I think I do want to do this one. Okay, this will be our last 2. These are just reviews. Okay, then we're going to move on to today's stuff. If you want a review of your your midterm, if you want one now, I can give that to you. Like if anybody wants to start working on it, if you're not good at this, I strongly suggest that maybe you get a study guide for this week and then get our study guide for next week as well. Okay, so write the slope, intercept form of the equation. What are those 2 words? Slope and intercept. So that's the 2 things I need. The slope and the intercept. How do I find the slope? We'll just count down and over, right? Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down 6 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is everybody okay with that? That's my slope. That's another way to do the slope. There's all different kinds of ways. Now, what's the y-intercept? Ooh, this one's kind of yuck. Where does it cross the y-axis?
3.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and, it's really right here, so I probably would take this one off. If you put 3 or 2.75 or 2.5, I'd take it. Does everybody understand that? Because it's really right under 3. If you put 3, I would absolutely take it. It looks like it. But it's probably, if I was guessing, going to be 2.75. But that's terrible. Okay. Last one. Let's graph. We did this yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and go over this. Let's graph this equation. So where's my starting point? This is slope-intercept form. Where do I start at to graph it? You just have to be able to look at it and tell. -2. We're going to start at that number over there. That's my y-intercept. From there, I use the slope. What's the slope? 4. So I go up how many? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. There we go. All right. And that would be your graph. How is this? Some of us are good. Some of us are tired. Too tired for math. Okay, does anybody want a copy of this starting tomorrow? Nobody? Okay. That's fine. Let's look at today's stuff. So yesterday we did parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same what? So all day on it yesterday, we would say, oh, we're going to do a line that's parallel to this one. So what did we do? We use the same slope. There you go. Parallel lines have the same slope. Okay? So today we're going to do something that's a little bit different. We're going to do the perpendicular lines. So let me do this problem. You'll have to remember both. I'll try to go over both of them today some. All right, perpendicular lines, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Does anybody know what the opposite means? If one is positive, the other one is?
Negative.
If it was negative, your new one is positive. That's what opposite. What does reciprocal mean? Anybody know what reciprocal is? If you had 3 over 4, what's the reciprocal going to be? 4 over 3. You're going to flip it. Okay? So those are the two things. It's the exact same thing as yesterday. Okay? Parallel lines, we used the exact same slope. Today, for perpendicular lines, we're going to take the slope. It's all the same steps, but we're going to change it to the opposite reciprocal. That's the only thing that's different. All the same steps, though. So if I had, let's just practice doing slopes. If this one's slope is, let's say 2/3 x plus 1, what's my slope going to be for my new line that's perpendicular? Okay, this is a positive 2/3. So what's my new slope going to be? Yep, negative 3 over 2. Okay? And then I would have more to do. We're just going to practice doing slopes for a second. What if my slope is negative 1/2 over here? What would be my new slope that's perpendicular?
-2.
But it's going to not be negative, it's going to be positive. Positive 2. If you put 2 over 1, if you flipped it, right, isn't 2 over 1 just 2? So if it was negative, it becomes positive. If it was positive, it becomes negative. Let's do another one. What if I have y equals 3x minus 8? What would my new slope be? Would it be positive or negative? Negative. And would it be 3 or would it be, flip it, 1 over 3? It's 1 over 3. Do y'all understand that one? Because if you need to, put a 1 underneath it. So my new one would be negative 1/3. Do we understand this part? If you got this part, then we can do today's stuff. Okay. So it says, all right, you have this old equation, y equals 1/3 x minus 1. And we want to write a new one perpendicular to it. Oops, sorry, you can't see it. That goes through this point. All right, so if it's perpendicular, all you need from this one is the slope. So what is my new slope going to be?
1/3.
That was yesterday. That's parallel lines. All day yesterday we used the same slope. So you have, it's keywords. If it says parallel lines, exact same slope. Today it says perpendicular, so it's not 1/3, it's what? Negative 3. Do y'all understand where that came from? It's the opposite, so it became negative, and it's the reciprocal. You flip it. You put the 3 on the top, 3 over 1. That's all I need from that one. Now I have to write the equation. Do y'all remember how to write the equation? Maybe. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what would I write first? Y minus what? What's my y value?
4.
4. Y minus 4. What's my slope? Negative 3. And then x minus, what's my x value? 2. So sometimes it'll ask for it in that form and I can leave it. But what if it said slope-intercept form? What would I do? What would I have to do with the negative 3 and the 4? I've got to distribute and move it, right? So what's negative 3 times x? Negative 3x. And then I've got negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. Okay, then what do? How do I move minus 4? Add 4. Add 4. So y equals negative 3x plus 10. There's my new equation. Okay? If I drew both of these lines, they would cross at 90-degree angles. All right, I'll do another one and then I'm going to make y'all do one. I may give y'all a worksheet. It's going to be tough, but I feel like y'all aren't even trying, some of y'all. Y'all are napping. Okay, are we ready for another one?
I think she.
He's not napping. Okay. If I have, let's see, y equals 2x plus 1 is my old equation. I'm going to make a new one that goes through this point, and it is perpendicular. So what is my new slope? What is my new slope? What's this slope?
2 plus 1.
Huh?
Your slope's going to be negative 1.
It's going to be negative, but this is 2 over 1.
So it'd be 1 over 2.
Yep, there you go. Negative 1 over 2.
I thought it should be 1. But I didn't realize.
Yeah, if you need to put it as a fraction, just write that real quick. So then you can flip it, okay? Now you'll write it in slope or point slope form first. What is point slope form? Do y'all remember
I
that?
forgot the formula. It was like, I don't know.
Y minus, here, I'll write it. Y minus the y value equals the slope, and then x minus your x value. So y minus, what's the y value that I have?
8.
8. What's the slope?
Negative 1/2.
There we go. And then x minus, what's my x value?
1.
1. Okay? Now, maybe I can leave it like that, but if it's multiple choice and they want slope-intercept form, then I have to distribute and move the 8. So let's distribute first. That's negative 1/2 times x and negative 1/2 times negative 1. That's just a positive 1/2, right? Then what's my last step?
Like do the 8 by itself.
Well, get the y by itself. What's over there with the y?
8.
8.
Add 8.
Add 8 every time. Every time you'll move that number over here. So y equals negative 1/2 x, and then I don't know how they write it. I don't even know where this problem is. They wrote it as a fraction. 17/2. I mean, an improper fraction. If you wrote 8.5, that's fine. If you wrote 8.5, also fine. Everybody okay with that? It was a kid. I didn't know what that was. All right, y'all ready to try one? Yep, y'all need to. I can do these all day long, and it's always so easy to sit here and watch me do them. Okay, I promise. And then I give you the problem, and you have no idea what to do. So, you're gonna do, here's perpendicular. Not that one. I'm looking for one. Give me just a second. 20. I'll do 20. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1, and it goes through the point negative 2, 3, and it is going to be perpendicular. All right, we're going to try and do a perpendicular.
What's one perpendicular?
Would-
No, that's parallel. That's
Parallel has the exact same slope. I'll do one of those in a minute. I'm going to start throwing different ones out there at y'all. All right, work on this, work on this.
Does it have to be the one after, or can it just be the first answer? I hope, let me not say it.
The first equation, it has to be, this one slope-intercept form. I'm going to make y'all go to the second equation. Like you'll have to work through it. Just like I did that other one.
formula, y minus y
Equals
equals x,
m. And then in parentheses.
x minus x.
So, what's my new slope gonna be? Or did you need a second, Jackson? Are you still working?
No.
Are you sure? Your new slope is gonna be -2. Remember, it's two things, the opposite and reciprocal of this right here. If this is a positive 1/2, my slope is gonna be negative, and flip it. Instead of 1/2, what's it gonna be? 2/1. That's that number there. Now I'm done. I don't need that equation anymore. I'm making a new one. So the equation's going to look like this. That's point slope form. Y minus the y value. What's the y value? Or 3. Equals the slope, -2. And then x minus my x value. What is that x value? -2. What happens to minus a -2?
Positive.
Yeah, it changes to +2. Okay, then what do we do? Distribute. Do you need me? Oh, here, let me pause this. No, it's okay. Here we go. Now, what do we do? This is partially correct. What do we do after this?
Oh, I have one backwards.
What do we do with the -2? Distribute it. So if I'm going to just bring this down for a second, -2 times x, and then -2 times 2. Does everybody understand that's -4? -2 times 2. Now, one last step. What do I do? Every time that number over there with the y, it says -3. So what do I do with it? Add 3. So we get -2x minus 1. All right. How was that one? Better? Worse? Let me look up another.
It was
All right, this is our goal today. We need to understand parallel and perpendicular before you leave class today. This is probably the hardest part of this chapter. So I'm going to give you a problem now. And I want you to write an equation that is parallel to this line. Notice what word did I say? Parallel to this one that, oh, you can't even see it, sorry. That goes through this point. So how do you do that? It's parallel, keyword. I think we're ready. All right, so if I plug this in, y minus the y value, which is 6. We said it's, since they're parallel, I'm doing the same slope, -1/4. And then x minus -8. What happens to a minus a negative? Yep, it becomes +8. So I told you wrong on that one. I said -1/4 times -8, but it's actually times +8. Sorry, Riley. Anyway, let's keep going. So then we distribute, right? Y minus 6 equals -1/4 x. And what is -1/4 times 8?
2.
Yep. And it actually is a -2. Some of y'all asked and I was like, oh, it is +2. But I didn't put it in the equation to see it. Okay, then what do I do?
You gotta get the y by itself.
Very good.
So you add 8.
Add 6. Yep.
Or 6, sorry.
Very good. Y equals -1/4 x plus 4.
I got y equals 1 4 x plus 8.
That's because I told you positive 2. That's why. Alright, did anybody get it? Some of us? Alright, good. Okay, now let's do another one. Okay, let's look at a perpendicular one. We're gonna do,
So what day is midterms on? Next?
it's either next Wednesday or Thursday, I'm not sure. I'm hoping y'all's is Wednesday, honestly.
It's gonna suck. How long does that take?
An hour. So we've got y equals negative 2x plus 1. We're going to go with perpendicular this time. All right, so, oh, y'all can't see it. Apologize. There we go. Now, this is the old equation. We're going to write a new one that's perpendicular to it, and it goes through this point. So, try that.
Whenever you
Let me go over it. Now, perpendicular means I need to change the slope to the opposite, which means it becomes positive, and the reciprocal. It becomes 1 over 2. Then I'll do y minus the y value, which since that's negative 1, it changes, equals the slope, and then x minus the x value. So I'll distribute, and I get 1/2 x. And then what's half of 2? What's half of 2? 1. So, and it's just negative 1. Then what do I do with this plus 1 over here? To move it, I subtract 1. So y equals 1/2 x minus 2. How are we?
I didn't get the negative 1. Like I got a positive 1, and so I minus the 1 I didn't. So I just had y equals 1/2 x.
Oh, because you got it. It went away. You thought it went away to 0. Okay. Take out your projects for me. That might be. Let's see. What do we have on time? We have a little bit of time. We'll kind of look at projects, I think, for a little bit, and I'm gonna send out a reminder.